Hey Radiant Souls, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome for the first time. My name is Heather. I'm so delighted that you're here. I want to talk about the energy for the month of August with a little bit of a twist or a caveat or a disclaimer, put a little asterisk here, because I'm moving away from them being energy forecasts based on the guidance from my team of guides. So if you don't know me, I'm Heather. I'm a psychic channeler, medium, animal communicator. I work with a team of spirit guides and have my entire life. And when I come to do these kinds of videos every month, which I've been doing since I think 2022, if not longer, it's been, here's the energy we all need to navigate or will be called to navigate and explore for the upcoming weeks. What's been coming through lately is a little softer than that. It's a little more of an invitation. It's a little more of a whisper, like a, hey girl, what if we looked at this energy? And so that's what I want to bring forward this month. And what that whisper or that invitation was for the coming weeks is for the word integrate. And what does that really mean for us? When we're looking at the energetic landscape, we look at like what's available, what frequency is being held by so many in the collective that we now have this opportunity to explore, to co-create, to figure some things out as they apply to us around this particular topic. So when we were talking about integrate, what my guides were showing me first was this energy of purging what doesn't serve you. Like we can't integrate, and we talk about that a lot in the spiritual practice. I'm very integrated in what I do. I've integrated my lessons. But sometimes we're doing that without stepping out of our old identities. And so it's almost like barnacles on a boat. We just keep piling on, and then we get a little crusty and we feel overwhelmed. Why can't I navigate this life or this spiritual experience or this ascension process, however you want to classify that for yourself, because I feel like it's uncomfortable. And sometimes we do meet those rough edges in a way that's uncomfortable because we're being prompted to grow. But sometimes the guides were saying it's because we haven't also shed, we haven't released. So the integration becomes deeper when there's more fertile ground for those seeds to be planted. And it's funny, often with these, what used to be forecasts, but now we'll call them energy explorations. I don't know. If you have an idea for a name, let me know. We don't have to call it anything. But often there will be certain things happening in my life, I don't know, a few days or weeks ahead of when I want to pull through the channeled wisdom specific to the next few weeks. And I'm always, even though I've done this my entire life, somehow it always surprises me, and I always end up a little clueless, like, oh, that's why I was exploring that, or that's why that was happening to me. It's because it's part of the reflection or part of the lesson that I want to share with other people. And so in the last few weeks, what I found myself called to do was go all the way through my closet, every piece of clothing that I owned, closet and attic, because I had a lot of stuff in my attic. And it wasn't, does this fit me from like a size perspective? It was, does this fit me energetically? And it wasn't quite the Marie Kondo, does it bring me joy, does it not? But it really was like, that doesn't even feel like me anymore. Absolutely, that's not who I am. And so I moved so many things out and donated and gave to friends. Hold on. And we're back. Sorry for that interruption. It's so funny. I usually have my phone on silent, but my dog's having a surgery. She's getting spayed tomorrow, and I needed to be available for the vet. And of course, the minute I sit down to film and get really deep, that's when they call. So anyway, we're back now. I don't remember where I left off, to be honest, and I'm just going to kind of keep rolling. But I was talking, I think, about the exercise that I went through to clean stuff out of the closet. So I ended up donating a lot of things, sharing things with friends. And what's interesting is those friends were so excited because those pieces or, shirts and pants or whatever I was sharing, they're like, that does feel like me now. I think that reflects a couple of things. The people we align with and resonate with do share parts of our vibration and our frequency. But anyway, it was being courageous to move through identities that no longer fit. And I think that's really the point of Integrate this month. And after doing all that, like it sounds like a really silly exercise, and it kind of was, but it also was one of those things. I don't know if you've done this, and I've done this with my like rooms in the house before. Some of you know this if you've taken a class with me. I talk about this sometimes there, where the paint color will just absolutely no longer fits. We got to change it, and we have to do it now. It's like all of a sudden we've got to move and shift. And I think I'm really grateful that I'm able to do that, able to recognize that. But there was a time in my life where I went a very, 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 very long time. How many varies could I say there? Not wanting to release, not wanting to step out of old parts of me because they felt precious to me. There was maybe a nostalgia to a certain way of being. If I'm not that anymore, I don't know who I am. And I think when we find ourselves in that in between of the old identity and the new, super, super uncomfortable sometimes. But that's the level of integration that is coming through for the energy this month, and this deeper wisdom of it. So it's almost like a meta interpretation of integrate, because we want to integrate our lessons, but we want to integrate the integration in a way that is maybe deeper than we've gone before, maybe letting ourselves be more vulnerable than we've been before, maybe doing this more frequently. Another image that came through related to this channeling was a bakery where you would pull, like I think they do it on your phone now. I don't know the real world anymore and modern conveniences. But when you go to a bakery and pull the number, like next up to be served. If any of you remember that, let me know in the comments. Am I the only one who hasn't seen that in a while, and maybe it doesn't even exist anymore? But pulling the little tag that says, okay, I'm number 10. And when they call your order, they call number 10 and you trade the little piece of paper in. Anyway, that, where have you, like how many of your things are due? How many are you holding that little piece of paper, like a wish, a dream, a goal, a hope for yourself, but you're not hearing them call your number because you haven't released something else? So being in that, yes, vulnerability, but also fluidity with ourselves, and allowing for more things to blow in and through us like a breeze in that sense. Another image that's coming up for integration right now as I'm tuning in is that of like scar tissue, and allowing the scar tissue to become beautiful. So if you've ever had a wound that required a lot of healing, like it's a deep, deep scar, there's a point in time where it looks really kind of disgusting. It's still healing. It hurts to touch. The tissue around it is rushing in to help heal it and support it. And then we kind of realize through our healing much later, then we have the cool story to tell about it. Like, oh, this is where, like I have some on my face where, shocking, I know, I got too close to dogs as a kid and they scratched my face. Or maybe being too adventurous. There was a piece of pebble embedded in one of my knees. And at the time, those things feel really tender. They feel like they need to be nurtured. And we kind of, our bodies do it, but we do it as well with our emotional things, with our spiritual journey. We encapsulate it. We protect it. We get really vulnerable in that space. But if we don't allow that integration to happen, we don't allow time to help us move through things, then we don't really get the cool story to tell. I don't know if you're following this metaphor, but allowing your scar tissue to show up more as like a really cool ragged tattoo or something that you can tell the story about without feeling the wound. I think that's where they were going with that. So allowing those things for you as you're moving through the next few weeks. Where are those tender spots for you? Where do you feel maybe too vulnerable to talk about it? And can you show yourself tenderness there? Can you lean into that? Can you excavate that in a way to say, okay, what's the remaining lesson here for me? And does this vulnerability even still fit me? Or is it just something I'm so comfortable with that I keep telling that story? I keep putting that piece of proverbial clothing back on. So when I was channeling the art for the month, even though we're talking a lot about things feeling tender and vulnerable, the art that came through is really powerful. And I think that's an interesting aspect of our healing. When we do let those things go, when we integrate something and walk forward, stepping out of it or through it or fully embodying it, it's like we 10x our own personal power. So I'm going to show the digital version of the art here, which, by the way, if you're new, you can download a watermarked copy of this for free. I'll put the link below. You can also order a paper copy. And if you hear me fidgeting with something, you can also join my print club, where I send you a 5x7, I had to think about the dimensions, 5x7 version of the art every month. And it's so nice to have these in your physical space. And even though you would think you would get the frequency and the vibration over the digital art because of, wavelengths and digital and frequency and Wi-Fi and all of that, when you have it in your physical space, it's so potent. And thank you for those who have shared that feedback, that you really love working with these as physical pieces. So anyway, I'll put information in the description box below for that too. But as I'm looking at this, there's so much rainbow light energy, and I think that's one of the opportunities with integration. It's almost like adding different, it looks like a video game in the way they're showing me now, where you're adding these different lives. You get these different versions of you. And once you're releasing them, it's like it adds more fuel, more power, more dynamic energy to the you that is authentic in this moment. When we're siphoning our energy into aspects of us that no longer fit, where we haven't integrated it, it's like this little carve out, and our energy gets a little bit fractured. So where can you step fully into your own embodiment, your own integration, and end up looking like this, like super vibrant, shining, empowered, and powerful? Aligned is the other word that's coming up for that. So I'm curious to know too, when you are exploring over the next few weeks your own integration, sometimes there are opportunities to do that work in a very quiet, self-reflective kind of way. Sometimes tools can help us with that work too. And I've already announced this to my newsletter community, but I wanted to bring it here as well. One of the things that I've been working on the last few weeks is a channeled, personalized to each and every person who orders one tarot deck. So 78 cards that are channeled for the wisdom of you, your soul, how your soul connects with, reflects, learns lessons from each of those themes in the 78 cards of a tarot deck. So these are deep, deep pieces of integration. And if you feel something like that would be helpful as you're working through not just this energy, but going forward into your next few months, your next few years, having this really personal, amplified reflection of yourself can be so beautiful and such a great reminder of who you are and who you came here to be in this world. So I'll put a link to that in the description box as well. So I think that's all that's coming through for the team. Just really thinking about what can you shed, what can you step into, and how can you integrate in a way that is supportive and loving and present for yourself. So let me know what's going on with you this month. What aspects of this message felt maybe more resonant for you? And thank you so much for spending some time with me today, and I will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.